Okay, so this is 6.3, and the idea behind 6.3 is really about what we call composition of functions, where we compose a new function or create a new function by placing one function inside of another. There are two types of situations that you'll face in 6.3. The first is when we actually have a value for x. And so in this expression, I want to put -3 into the function g in place of x. So g of -3 actually equals -3 squared. And if you look at it, what I've done is I've taken the x and replaced it with a -3. And I'll just go ahead and use the order of operations to square -3, which produces 9. And when I multiply that by the negative, I get -9 for g of -3. That's this internal piece. Well, I want to take that now and put it inside of function f. So f of -9 would be 3 times -9 plus 2. And you can see this is function f right here with a -9 in place of its x value. And that's what we're doing. Now 3 times -9 is -27 plus the 2 is -25. And that's our answer. So what we did is we evaluated something at -3 in function g. We evaluated function g at -3. Then we took that result and plugged it into the outer function. And this is a pretty easy process. But eventually we want to get to where we don't have to substitute twice to get our answer. So in these compositions, it's often common to actually force one inside the other, evaluate the functions themselves, and have a new function that doesn't require two substitutions. And so what we're going to do is this case, we're actually going to start by building function f, because I don't know the value of x. If I had a value here, I'd start inside and work out, but without that value, I need to start with the outer function. So f of x is 3 times x to the -1. Well, my x value is no longer going to be x, it is now g of x. And g of x, of course, equals 2x minus 7. So I slide that in here. That's the difficult substitution that has to take place. From here, it's about simplification. And I know that things with negative exponents need to move to the denominator. And this whole parenthesis has that negative exponent. The 3 has a positive 1 exponent, so it's going to stay on top. But all this other stuff needs to move down, meaning I will have 3 over 2x minus 7. And that's the answer for number 28. The idea is to plug one function inside of the other, maintaining the outside function, function f in this case, as the main structure or body of the function. If we look at one more, let's look at number 30. This asks me to take f of x, this function, and to put it into h of x. Well, we're going to start with the body of the function being h of x. So this is going to equal something plus 4 divided by 3. Now, instead of putting an x into h of x, we're going to put f of x, which is 3x to the -1. Well, a couple of things happen. I want to try and get this -1 exponent to go away, but I can't do it with this plus 4 over here. Now, see how the 4 doesn't have the negative exponent? That means I can actually split this into two fractions. I'm going to have 3x to the -1 over 3 plus 4 over 3. Now 4 over 3 is ready to go. There's no problem here. And I notice that the 3's here will cancel, leaving me with x to the -1 plus 4/3. Well, I still haven't done with the negative exponent, so I need to finish that by reciprocating and putting 1 over x plus 4/3. And that is a new version of an equation, a new function that is h composed with f. And what that means is now, instead of plugging something into x for f, into function f for x, and then taking that result and plugging it into h, I can plug a value into x right here and get the result of doing both substitutions at the same time. That is it. The assignment is more and more of the same, so good luck, and we'll talk to you in class, and have a good spring.